Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Monica.
I'm not able to hear each one of you. There is some network issue from somebody. Who's that? Okay. So yeah, how was the week? Tried studying something about HRM or it just went just like that? So not even looked at the presentation that I sent. अरे ऐसा करोगे तो कैसे आगे बढ़ेंगे? How will you think that it is an MBA then? Okay, any queries from the last sub quest I mean the presentation that we did or the topic that we covered? No questions? Mm. Shall we move ahead? See, if you guys won't ask any questions and if you don't study side by side, it is going to be difficult for you to catch up. फिर लास्ट तक एंड तक आते आते आप लोग कहेंगे हमें पता ही नहीं चला कब कोर्स खत्म हो गया और क्या पढ़ाया सर ने और मैम ने. Trust me, this is what happens if the students do not participate. Out of the 9 batches, 1 or 2 batches have been like that. So I'm just telling you with the experience, people who have been catching up regularly were really successful in terms of getting the job, in terms of understanding the concepts and subject, and also in terms of giving their final examination. Right? It should not happen that we reach in the end and then you say कि इसमें से कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है क्या पढ़ाया था. So side by side, if you study side by side, even if you look at the presentations and the assignments that we give you, uh, within a week, if you will be able to cover it up, then it will be helpful for you to approach us, ask questions. We'll be able to resolve it then and there. It won't take much time. It's just a matter of 1 or 2 hours in a week, not really too much. Yeah. Again, that too only if you're very serious about creating a career in HR. अगर ऐसे ही सिर्फ सर्टिफिकेशन के लिए कर रहे हो कोर्स then it's all just a different story altogether. All right, so going to the next topic. Again, I'm starting this topic, but I'm not sure how much are you guys prepared. Chalo, but let's start this. This topic is about sourcing and recruitment. Let me open my screen and let me share it. Yeah, you guys can see my screen. You can see the screen, all of you. Okay, and the
Yes.
font size is visible. You want me to change the font size or something? Better? All right. So now we are talking about what sourcing and recruitment in human resource management. It's the foremost topic. The first topic basically is manpower planning, but I don't want to bring too much of a difficulty in the first class itself. I mean, just after the introduction. So we'll go first by sourcing and recruitment, and then we will do manpower planning. Because for manpower planning, a lot of things needs to be a bit more clear to you, which we are going to cover in this particular topic along with this. And then we will come to manpower planning or part of it. So, manpower planning basically is understanding how much in the organization we require people. So, suppose you have a company, your own company, the company has approximately, say, a turnover of 5 crores. For getting the turnover of 5 crores, मतलब 5 crore का business करने के लिए, how many people would be required in the organization? So that is a calculation that is being done through the formulas. What is the revenue the company is thinking of bringing? What is the turnover the company is thinking of bringing vis-a-vis number of people? This is called manpower planning. And this is where You become business process HR because you're understanding the requirements and needs of the business as well. Right? So it gets little technical. There are a few formulas that you need to understand for manpower planning. कैसे calculate करते हैं. So we'll go to next week on or maybe tomorrow for that class. Today we'll start with sourcing and recruitment. So what do you think is sourcing and recruitment in human resource management? According to you guys, whatever you know from whatever experiences you have or you have heard from people.
Ma'am, good evening.
Yes, please. Good evening. Yeah, Jyotsna.
I think it's about the different ways you can recruit people in an organization, like
Mhm.
the from the feedback of the employees or suggestions of the employees who are already working in the organization, or maybe through internships or campus placements, such things.
Absolutely correct. So sourcing is absolutely that. Now, if sourcing is that you are finding different places to get the people, what is recruitment?
And I think recruitment is finding
Two of you are
candidates
speaking
for
together.
job,
Yeah.
like hiring or attract.
Prerna can't hear you. Your voice is coming in bits and pieces. थोड़ा सा कट रही है आवाज.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, there is network issue. And the process of recruitment is finding or attracting people for job.
Okay, fine. Yeah, Divanjana, you were also saying something.
Yes, like recruitment can be basically screening and evaluating and then selecting appropriate or proper candidates for a particular job or a particular position.
Then what would be selection?
Oh, recruiting, selecting, almost the same thing. I'm not sure.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
I would say that selection is like after you have sourced the people, you
Hmm.
select them through interviews, and then there are a lot of phases that they have to go through, like different tests, physical and background checks. And finally, when you decide to give them a proposal of agreement, or you decide to have them in your company as an employee, a permanent or for part internship, then that's recruitment.
Okay. That's quite close. Anyone else? Tanya, Kavya? So just to confuse you a little bit more, what would be placements? You have sourcing, you have said recruitment, selection, then what would be placement in the company?
Assigning roles in different positions.
And
Correct.
placement,
Yeah. So placement is placing them rightly in the right departments as per their skills and things. So how the entire process goes into basically, we call this entire procedure or process as talent acquisition in many organizations. Also, talent acquisition in many organizations is also called recruitment as an entire function. So recruitment is a larger function which requires sourcing, selection, placement as its part. Other than placements, there is another thing called onboarding, which also becomes a part of talent acquisition largely. Now, what do you feel what onboarding would be? पहला स्टेप सोर्स हो गया कि फाइंड पहला स्टेप इसमें मैन पावर प्लानिंग होता है आइडेंटिफाइंग हाउ मेनी पीपल वी नीड सेकेंड स्टेप इज लुकिंग फॉर पीपल थ्रू सोर्सिंग चैनल्स second third part is selection True. Assessment, test, and interviews, whatever the procedure is. And fourth part is placement. What would be onboarding? Fifth is onboarding. So what onboarding is? ओरिएंटेशन होता है आप लोग के कॉलेजेस में?
Ma'am, when you finally get to start your work by being introduced to the department, the company, and all the colleagues.
Absolutely. So, like the orientation happens in colleges, right? On the new session, whenever you join a new session or new school or new college, then similar thing happens in organizations. When somebody new is being hired in the organization, we give them a complete onboarding. Now, onboarding is again a very, very large concept. Onboarding के अंदर हम orientation करते हैं उनका, induction करते हैं उनका. Right? So onboarding can be a larger space, 3 months, 6 months, depending upon what kind of role the person is in. And then under onboarding, we will have orientation, giving them introduction about everything and giving them induction about policies, procedures, how the company works, systems and guidelines. Right? So a lot of people confuses between onboarding, induction and orientation that it is just one thing, but it is not. Similarly, talent acquisition, sourcing, recruitment are all different words and all of them have different meanings to it. So we need to understand that so that you can become a better, because now talent acquisition is a separate function altogether in organizations. Some organizations do not even consider it as a part of human resource management, largely. They have a separate department called Director of for called Recruitment or Talent Acquisition. This is where all the hirings, onboardings happen, especially in larger organizations where every year you are hiring 30, 40,000 people, 10,000 people in the company. This is where you require that kind of a setup altogether. So like when I was heading the entire HR for a very large company, 80,000 employees थे उसमें. So we had a very separate function for hiring. Almost 56 people were only into recruitments and talent acquisition. So that larger thing, because we were hiring almost 15, 16,000 people every year. All right, so now coming to this, what is the importance of effective sourcing and recruitment? ये किसने निशान मारा है इस पे? Jyotsna. What were you doing on the presentation?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I think there was some system glitch.
No worries. Okay. So, importance of effective sourcing and recruitment, how it happens and why it should be done for the organization. Number one is acquiring top talent. That is the reason why we call it talent acquisition. Talent matlab looking for the right talent in the market wherever you can find it. So, like Jyotsna also said initially that you can do it through internship, on campus placements. Then there are no lot of job portals like Naukri, Shine, and other places. Also, LinkedIn has become a major platform these days for hiring right kind of a talent. Again, depending upon what skill are you looking at, what kind of qualifications and experience that you're looking at, then you can decide what channel would be better and suitable for this particular role to hire. For example, now when we work in various industries, because that's the company that we run, that now we work for various industries. So now not for all industries you can find the right talent on LinkedIn. Now there is a company which is purely into these seeds. Seeds, you understand, but that is used for agriculture. So now if you are looking for people who can sell those seeds to the farmers and to the agriculture people, then it becomes difficult to find those people on LinkedIn. There are hardly many who are active. So that is why it is required that you need to understand which channel would be great for the kind of recruitments or the kind of selection that I have to do for the organization. So number one is importance of effective sourcing is acquiring top talent. Look for the better talent. You won't get 100% right people until unless yes you're hiring from the campus placements. Even then you won't find 100% fitment. हम पता नहीं कैसे रोल लिखते हैं कि 100% fitment कभी भी नहीं मिलता है. But 80-70% kind of people if you get. So what you need to look into the people when you are hiring and sourcing. क्या देखोगे आप? Functional competencies. Suppose आप किसी marketing manager को hire कर रहे हो. So for marketing manager, what kind of competencies would you look at? Just think
Ma'am,
5.
they
Yeah.
have they should have a good social media presence. so
Social
that,
media presence, okay. You're talking about digital media, fine, that works.
yeah, and they
Okay.
should have good social networking skills as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
so these
important.
are functional skills. What else will you look into? Behavioral skills also you will look into? What kind of behavioral skills you will look into? For any role, largely. क्या देखोगे अगर मार्केटिंग मैनेजर के अंदर क्या होना चाहिए when the person is coming on board into the organization? फंक्शनल आपने देख लिया, डिजिटल की एक प्रैक्टिस है, उसको
Fundamentally,
मार्केटिंग का
they
सब आता है. Sorry?
yes. No,
Communication skills.
I was about to say the same thing. Fundamentally, they should have good knowledge about marketing sphere and how the company deals with all the marketing things in their own sector as well.
ये सब फंक्शनल कॉम्पिटेंसीज हो गई ना.
Yes,
फंक्शनल
ma'am.
मतलब रिलेटेड टू देयर फंक्शन. What would be the personal behavioral skills? How should be one's behavior, yeah, or attitude in the organization? Anushka is saying they must have a good communication skills together with their interact with mass. Yes, correct. So communication skills can be one of the behavioral or non-functional skills as well. Good. What else? Customer orientation should be there, right? They should be able to talk nicely with the customer. So their behavior should be really, really having very positive or great attitude. If the person will not have positive attitude for the job, for the role, then do you think a marketing manager would be very successful in handling the queries of people? Because people troll on social media so much these days, no matter whether it's a person or a product or a service. There are so many bots which are operational. Bots also start getting into trolling. So for that kind of a role, you need to have somebody who is always calm and composed, have that positive attitude towards the job and the role that they are getting into. Right? So these are the kind of behavioral skills we look into when we are hiring the right kind of talent in the organization. Also, two most important things to look into people, any for any kind of role, no matter whether they are functionally also fitting the things 100%. Very two important things is, one is I said positive attitude for any role in the company. If the person you feel is having a little bit of negativity, they are talking very bad about their past organization or their college or their professors or anything, that means the person may not have the right kind of attitude, aptitude for the role, for the job. Right? You need to then spend time on training the person. If you have time to spend on training that person, then you can have them on board looking at the other skills, which is their merit, eligibility criteria, knowledge, degrees, whatever. They are fitting the role, then you can still take a risk. But if nothing is finalized, then you need to look into this. The second most important thing is learning ability of the person. If the person is not 100% fitting the job role that you have designed, then you need to look into whether the person is ready to take that training on. They are ready to get into the progression mode of learning or not. Right? Over a period of time, when we will do selection and assessment, I'll tell you how we do selection on these two skills as well, so that you will get to know how HR actually start using these things on a day-to-day manner as well. And it's not really just on intuition or gut feeling, it is purely on the structural based of the questionnaire that we create for interviews. Yeah. So acquiring top talent is one of the most important thing. Then engagement and retention. It's very important. So sourcing not just means that external sourcing that we are doing for hiring only the fresh people from outside. Sourcing also largely means that within the organization, what are the things that you are doing for the people who are currently employed with you? Right? So now there are people who are working with you for 2 years, 5 years, 7 years. What is the career progression that you're showing it to them? Are you just giving them the role that they want to do right now? But what about their future plans and growth? Right? So you need to do that sourcing within the organization. वो किस तरीके से होती है? So there are a few things that we do in the organization within. We do IJTs. IJTs is internal job postings. So you have a new role, you post it within the organization itself that okay, anyone can apply for this role if you think you are fit for the role. वहाँ आपका बेनिफिट क्या हो जाएगा? That the person already knows the company really well. They know how the company functions. It's just that if they want to make some shift from one function to another, or they feel they are bored in their current job, or they feel that, redundancy has come in my current role, I want to really grow, then they can apply for that job. Right? So these are called internal sourcing. Also, internal sourcing के अलावा इसके अंदर आता है reference. So how people can be retained for a longer period of time? The more referrals they will introduce to the organization. Now, if suppose Devanjana and Jyotsna are working for an organization together for a very long time, they understand the company really well. They know every function, every role, their job role. And we post an IJT or we post a job that, okay, this is what we are requiring. Devanjana gives a reference for another person to come on board into the organization. One, she gets rewarded for giving the reference. Second, half of the job of the recruiter is done by the Banjana because she understands the company. She must have sold the company to the friend or relative, whosoever she is giving the reference to. So half the job is done. And obviously, when somebody becomes, we call them brand ambassadors for the organization. तो जैसे लोग शाहरुख खान को हायर करते हैं टू सेल द कंपनी, it is basically the recruiters or the employees of the organization who can become the better brand ambassadors of the organization to sell it out to the people who can come and join the organization. It can be your friends, your classmates, your relatives, anybody who you feel would be the right fit for the company. So this is called engagement and retention. You are engaging your right workforce also, the current workforce who are working in the company, and also you are giving them a platform to be stay for the longer time period by giving them career progression, by giving them a place that, okay, we trust you, you are giving us more resources to come and work in the organization. Then third, which we talked about last time also, is enhancing brand reputation. You cannot get to know about a company till the time you do not see their brand. Talking about this thing, like, Shark Tank did this for India also. A lot of startups were given a platform, even if you didn't knew about those companies at all. At least Shark Tank में उनको अगर पैसा भी नहीं मिला, कुछ उनके investment नहीं हुई, one thing they got is marketing. The free reputation, brand reputation was created. So people were willing to, I mean, you see Instagram, you open any social media channel, you will see one hair shampoo company which was not given a single rupee. All the five sharks refused to give any investment to them. But she's so openly branding it in a manner that I went on Shark India. This is what happens. Small clips from Shark India where they're talking good about the product. So this is how your brand reputation is created these days. It's the time with very fast moving products. I mean, very fast moving things that needs to be installed. Imagine अब आप लोग कितना टाइम आईजी पे देते हो, इंस्टाग्राम पे हाउ मच टाइम आर यू स्पेंडिंग? कितना टाइम बिताते हो एक दिन में?
I'm around 2 hours.
है ना, वो 2 घंटे 4 घंटे भी बदल जाते हैं, पता ही नहीं चलता ना. इफ यू स्टार्ट लुकिंग एट अ रील, वो एक के बाद एक आता जाता है, एंड समथिंग इंटरेस्टिंग कम्स अप. Imagine the technology picking up things as per your interest. That they know what Jyotsna like. Jyotsna ने पास में क्या देखा था, they know, so they start showing you similar things. So even if you suppose one day you just listen to a very sad song on reel, right? Imagine उसके बाद सारे के सारे sad songs की लाइन लग जाती है, पूरी शेरो शायरी की लाइन लग जाती है, So this is how the Instagram works. This is how artificial intelligence is working basically at the back end. Right? So how fast it is moving, and also look into this area where things are such short-lived. Short-lived matlab one reel is how much? 20 seconds, 30 seconds, maximum a minute, not more than that. So earlier we used to spend so much of time in understanding advertisements and all that. Now we are spending even lesser time on reels understanding things. Right? So that kind of a brand reputation has to be created by the organization in a manner where they can showcase a very positive branding about the kind of product services की तो चली रही होती है साथ साथ, but how the environment of the organization is, what kind of activities you are doing with your people. So like you will see on LinkedIn, people keep posting about, we did this celebrations, we did this, we took people outside for an off-site, बाहर घुमाने के लिए ले गए. So all those things keeps happening in the organization. It is not just for any other purpose that they want to do, but purely for the purpose of brand reputation to be created so that people can understand, okay, this organization just not work for these things, but they also know how to have fun, right? So attract better talent. So this is how the importance of these things works. Then what are the sourcing strategies that we generally use? So like I've just spoken about these things already. Internal sourcing, external sourcing, and passive sourcing are three ways of sourcing that we do. What internal sourcing refers to? Employee referrals, like just give you an example of promotions and rehiring and transfers, so that you are making internal movements of people, giving them career progression as well. Then internal source keeps the talent pool internal, IGTs and all. Also, it helps in employee morale and goal alignment. People would not like to leave the organization at all if you think that their morale is really high. The organization that I am talking about, I was heading their entire HR. We had people who started with us as a small time call center executive, and they had grown up to a role of operations manager or senior manager HR, different roles. So we have seen people growing into the company. We have given them that kind of a pathway where they were really happy staying in the organization, looking at different kind of roles. And trust me, even now when I am out from the organization, it's been 7, 8 years, these guys are still there, still progressing. In fact, one of the guys, imagine, who we hired as executive, is now has taken up a role of director HR. So over a period of 16 years, this person's progression has grown to this multifold. So this is how the companies really work if you are giving time. And it's not just about making movements internally, it's also about giving them right training and development. The market is changing, so you are giving them proper training on day to time basis. You are understanding their request and requirements, then you will be able to do this much better way. Then obviously आता है external sources that you already know of, a lot of things. Online job boards we are talking about, the job portals that we have. Social media has become a large sector of hiring people. Uh, we have also recruited not just from LinkedIn but also from Facebook and Instagram also, depending upon the role that we have. So right now we are looking for somebody who's very, very creative, has understanding of Adobe Suite and all that, and can work in a very creative agency. We are just hiring from social media, purely from Instagram. No, nothing else we are using. And such great resumes, and people have applied for that. Right? So looking into what kind of roles and recognition, I mean the roles requirement is, then you can hire people from different roles also. Then recruitment agencies, like placement agencies are there. Typically they are doing this kind of work of hiring people for certain organizations, part of which that we also do in my organization which I'm heading. This is what goes on, where people are giving you the job roles, you are just giving them the timelines and the right kind of people. How you source is not their problem, because they are giving that thing to you as a agency and you are sourcing for them. You become a sourcing point. Now, what happens in external sources? They offers wide range of talent. Because these guys are, so suppose, you as an organization do not want to keep that pain of sourcing with you. That's when you hire a recruitment agency. You don't want to know कि कहाँ से उन्होंने hire किया. You just need the job on time so that your timelines are being met. So this is what it is, that wide range of variety is available, because internal sourcing mein obviously there are limited number of people only that you can shift and make changes on. Also, it limits any potential for nepotism or internal bias. So nepotism, it's not just in film industry that we must be hearing about this word. Nepotism happens everywhere, especially in larger organization, जहाँ उनके favorite बन जाते हैं कुछ लोग, they may not be the family members, but there are people who become really, really very pet kind of for the senior management, and that's when these guys keep getting a lot of promotions and transfers within the organization. Career progression keep happening very, very fast. And also nepotism happens in MSME sector largely, where there are family-run business. I'm not sure how much data are you aware of. So in India, 90% organization that are still running are MSME sectors. Only 10% companies are there which are very large or large conglomerates, जिनके नाम आप सुनते हैं. But maximum number of GDP that is being turned by India is through the MSME sector, which is medium to small medium organizations. So when you work with family businesses and medium organizations, थोड़ा सा वहाँ पर सब कुछ change है. It's not, they are not too professional initially, but then you join in an organization and try to make them little more beneficial for them. वहाँ nepotism बहुत है. Why? Because a lot of people are from family. They want to have the senior positions in, I mean, for them. They do not have a professional qualification to run that particular department, but still they want to have an upper hand purely because they are faithful. Right? The company people, they won't really, get to lose the money then. But ultimately, क्या होता है nepotism के चक्कर में या family run businesses में, they lose out on money because they do not hire professionals. Right? Ultimately, you will see it's a kind of a backtracks them into this entire system, and then internal biases keep coming in for sure. Right? A lot of things, because even if you know about Reliance as an organization, Reliance का जो पूरा senior management है, the top most people who are basically take the final decisions, they are all family members. कहीं ना कहीं closely related people हैं. They don't let professional people run this organization, but that's a separate thing altogether, that they have grown to that level because they have not given the power to anybody from outside. So they hire professionals. Now, one of my friend was CHRO for them for a very long time, but again, he did not have much of a power. The power of taking the right decisions are in the hands of the family members. But yes, तो internal bias चलता रहता है, but still depend upon now company to company how they have able to make the success out of their thing. So Reliance can be one of the uh, but examples which actually works in a different sector thing altogether. Even after having complete nepotism, they still are able to create good money because they have business sense. Yeah. But then आता है passive sourcing. Now, what is passive sourcing? Like the name suggests, passive. You're not actively looking for people, or you're not looking for people who are actively looking for jobs, but you are still in search of. So, how it happens in two ways. One, as a part of the, suppose you are the job looker, you are looking for a job, but you're not actively looking. You have not really created, I'm open for hire and all that stuff. You wait for the right opportunity to come in. You have made up your mind that I want to shift from this job, but not in a hurry. So you become a passive sourcer for passive candidate for the client. Now, how do we search for passive candidates when we don't know whether they exist or not? They are not applying anywhere actively. How do we look for them? No idea. Think of it. Suppose, Devanjana, you are there. You have made up your mind that you want to apply for a job, but you're not actively looking. How will people get to know that Devanjana is one of the candidates for me?
Uh, maybe through, like, references, like someone I know, may know someone who's recruiting.
Hmm. Yeah, that can also happen for sure. So
Like
as a
other,
recruiter, how will you do? Suppose you're not finding the right skill in any of the people who are actively available, right? And you still need to hire a person. Now, what will you do?
so I am
Because,
actively looking, but the person I'm looking for isn't looking for a job. Is that the scenario?
yeah, now
Okay.
you're a recruiter and you don't know. You want a good person for your company for the role, but you're not getting any good people for the role from the active candidates.
And so maybe like it's various channels, like there can be social network and all. I get to meet someone, or I get to know someone who does possess that skill and who has like shown their work, or I've seen their work somewhere because they portrayed it in social media and all. And I
Hmm.
approach them.
Right. One way is this, that you have spoken to some people, so people refer your name
Mhm.
or you look for that reference, right? Second is even through LinkedIn, you can do that. How can you do that on LinkedIn? We call it in the proper typical language, it's called job headhunting. So headhunting basically goes into the thing that you do not have an active person, but you have the skill set that is available with you. So you start looking for various people's profile and see which one matches you. You don't know, you're not sure whether this person will accept that or not. It becomes a little more convincing and challenging, but this is the challenge you take on. Right? So this is called passive sourcing. Other part of passive sourcing is where the job doesn't exist right now, but you know that it will appear in future. It is a part of your manpower plan that in 6 months' time the job position will open up. So now what I'll do is I cannot post the job right now. I can't make it active, but I can create a talent pool of people or potential candidates who I can try and talk in a similar manner. Talking to them, networking, chatting with them, understanding what's their career progression, what are they looking at, and not giving them a direct hint that you're looking for, but giving them a subtle hint that you might be hiring in future. This is how you create your talent pool, and that is why LinkedIn has become such a great tool right now for doing these kind of hirings, where you know that you can plan for future as well when the vacancy will arise, right? Also, as a first time job hunters or first time uh, job, what do you call it, like, you guys that you're studying right now and you want to get into the job market for the first time. So LinkedIn works really good. Passive sourcing also works for you guys really well. How you start doing is maybe in the end last year of your studies, you have started talking, building network on your professional network sites, LinkedIn or anyone else. To start talking to people, start to getting to know them, what are they doing, what their organizations are doing. Slowly get in touch with the recruiters and the human resource department people. Get to know, tell them about your skills, advertise your skills, write about certain topics. So many things are available on LinkedIn. So people start getting to notice you and that you are there as a very potential candidate for them. So that's what passive sourcing is all about, right? Also, it improves employer branding for a very long time period because you're not directly hiring people, but you're advertising about good things of your organization on a regular basis. You're talking to them, going to the conferences, events, talking about your organization. This is how you build a kind of base for people to get to know your company a little bit better. Right? It's a long-term process. Generally takes longer time than the other two. But yeah, it works really well when you're hiring for especially the leadership positions और very critical role जो आपको जो normally नहीं मिल रहा है कहीं पे. So then you start looking into these. Now, what is the recruitment process? Sourcing is one of them, that you have sourced the right candidate. Then you choose selection methods and assessment tools. What kind of, for which role, what kind of selection method and assessments you are going to choose for that. For example, if you are hiring, say, a psychologist into the organization, for the role of career counselor or whatever role that you require them for, you cannot hire them just on the basis of interviews. You need to introduce certain tests so that you can check whether the person is really a good psychologist, what kind of evaluation they can do, what kind of things they can put across, and then you will conduct some tests with them. Similarly, a lot of different assessment tools and different assessment methods are being utilized by human resource people to bring the right people onto the company. How selection methods and assessment tools helps you get the right person in the sense that it brings a lot of accuracy, much better than just the interview interaction वाला interview. राइट इंटरव्यू में आप कितनी बार मिलते हो लोगों से 20-20 मिनट आधे घंटे के लिए एक या दो बार दैट्स इट उसमें आप पता कर सकते हैं विद इन एन आवर कैन यू गेट टू नो अ पर्सन्स complete qualifications understanding their roles what do they do difficult right overall superficial तो पता चल जाएगा but what actually goes beneath whether the person can really perform the job or not would be difficult So how you get to know? Then you bring in assessment tools and different interview methods for that. Right? Suppose now again you're hiring for an IT company. आपको पाइथन स्पेशलिस्ट चाहिए, कोई पाइथन को आप कैसे वर्बली डिस्क्राइब करोगे? You cannot ask person कि कैसे कोड करते हो verbally. You cannot do that in interview. So how will you do that? You will give them certain coding questions. You ask them to solve that then and there, whether in front of you, whether online, immediately, and then you will be able to hire them much better. Yeah, so different positions, different assessment tools, and selection methods are being used. Then how do you measure success? This is a book that is there. It's a very good book in case you get time to read about it ever. That's why this is there in the PPT. But measuring success is how? How do you measure hiring success in the company? कोई भी आपने हायरिंग शुरू करी, कैसे उसकी सक्सेस को मेजर करोगे? सपोज मार्केटिंग मैनेजर वाली पोजीशन ही है जिसके बारे में हमने पहले बात किया. हाउ विल यू से कि आई हैव सक्सेसफुली हायर्ड दिस पर्सन इन द कंपनी?
The the
I
profit they
can't
are
hear you. Your voice did not come initially for a minute. Yeah, I can hear you now.
like we can measure by seeing the profit that they are bringing the company.
प्रॉफिट तो 3-6 महीने बाद आएंगे, है ना? दैट इज ऑल्सो देयर, दैट्स वन ऑफ द मेट्रिक्स, बट इमीडिएटली आपको कैसे पता चलेगा? वन इज टाइमलाइन. आपको कितना टाइम दिया था एक बंदे को हायर करने के लिए इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन? राइट, दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एवरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑलवेज हैव अ टाइमलाइन दैट हमें ये कोई भी पोजीशन खुली है, दिस इज ओपन फॉर 20 days, 30 days, 40 days, whatever days. So one is timeline. Second is what channel of sourcing that you used. Which channel has been more successful for you? So suppose you posted it on LinkedIn also, you posted it on one of the job portals, and you also hired through the reference, told the employees internally to bring somebody. And somehow you did not get anybody from Naukri or from LinkedIn, but you got a lot of good people from referrals. So which channel worked for you really best for this particular role is reference. So that's one of the, again, metrics of selecting the right way of. So in future, what will happen? A similar kind of a role will come. You know that what kind of sourcing technique or sourcing tool has worked for me, right? That's measuring success. So this is how there are various metrics that goes into hiring of the right kind of people. Also, third factor comes is the salary, remuneration, and the number of amount, the money that you have spent in getting the right person on board. हम money spend करते हैं to get the right people on board. How do we spend the money?
Ma'am, on advertisements of the job posts.
Correct. On advertising of the job post and also giving them training when they come on board.
Yeah, when they are finally recruited, then we send them for training and development.
Absolutely. So everything is a cost measure thing that you can do. So you can see that how much this person has actually given to the organization. Again, that measurement comes after 3-6 months. And how much time was spent, how much money we had spent on this particular channel of sourcing, and how much better people I have got. So for example, when you take subscription for job portals like Naukri, 1 year subscription costs approximately 2,50,000 rupees. So 2,50,000 rupees may, if you're not able to hire even good 20-30 position in a year, it is just useless kind of things for the company that you are, or for the skills that you're looking at. Wherein if you hire from LinkedIn, it takes lesser money in terms of, if you want to do free of cost, you can do that. If you want to spend money on getting the people, you can do that. Both the choices are there. So in lesser money, you will be able to get the right people. So right amount of measuring success means you are choosing the right channel where you are spending less money and the results which are going to come are much better. Yep. Then आता है आपका complete process of recruitment, how it works. So यहाँ से start हो जाता है आपका proper method of hiring the person. We are just talking about sourcing, selection, bringing people into the internal thing, but उससे पहले ये start होता है job analysis से. Now, what is job analysis? Any ideas from you guys?
Making clear what you really want from the person who's coming for the job.
Sorry, making?
Making clear what are the abilities or what are the outcomes you want from that person who's coming for the job.
Yeah, but not for the person right now. Let's talk
For
about the
the
job, yeah, that you have in hand in terms of the organization that you are. What is the kind of jobs which are available? अभी हमने जैसे मैन पावर प्लानिंग की बात करी. मैन पावर प्लानिंग में क्या होता है that you are looking for right people for the company, how many people you require. Now, how do you identify how many people are required in the company is through job analysis. Right? What all departments are there? Which department would need how many people? What kind of role is written for them? Writing job analysis is not something that is happening right now in HR कि एक से एक job posting आई copy paste करके अपनी job posting कर दी changes करके. That's not the way we used to do. Job analysis is a complete scientific method of seeing what is the current job that person is doing, writing it down in a primary job responsibility and secondary job responsibility. Primary job responsibility जैसे marketing manager का role की हम बात करते हैं happens that the person needs to be doing company's product marketed really well on social media platforms, high queries, getting the links for the right people, getting queries from the right people, getting leads for the organization. These are the primary responsibility. Secondary responsibility हो जाएंगी that they are managing social media presence also. That different kind of things are being posted on social media on a timely manner. That becomes a secondary responsibility. उसका purpose क्या है? That bringing the right lead into the organization. So that's how the job roles are written. Job analysis is this generally categorized into two categories. One is job description and one is job specification. Job description in itself has become very popular word. Generally, people say job description क्या है आपकी job का या आपकी company का? What is the role that you're hiring for? But it should not be just job description. It is basically the job role that you're looking at. That is analysis of the job. So job description talks about the title. It has the position in the organization, किस location पर है, किस तरीके का कौन reporting structure है, environment कैसा रहेगा organization का, company का brief क्या है, so all these things. Job specification talks about work experience that is required for the job, what kind of personal characteristics is required, any certification or specifications that you have for the job role, what kind of exact education, eligibility criteria you have to fit for the job role. All these things comes under job specification. So job description largely talks about the responsibilities you need to do and job title and etc. Job specification is largely about the candidate, what they need to bring into the job. This is how it is designed. देन इसके बाद आता है इसको हम बाइफिकेट कर देते हैं इन सब पार्ट्स के अंदर रिक्रूटमेंट एंड सिलेक्शन which we are talking about right now, then workforce planning, how many people are required, which is manpower planning, training and development of the people who are internally available, we just have to give them right training so that we can make internal shifts, compensation and benefits to see how many people would get what salaries in the market. If we are paying as per the job market, the competitors are paying, minimum wages are being matched. So a lot of things goes into compensation and benefit also to bring the right people into the organization. Then health and safety, how much is the environment bringing health and safety of the people? Kitna stress hai, kitna anxiety hai, whether people are really happy working in the organization or not. Then appraisals, every year how their appraisals are happening, whether they are moving ahead or not. again, and then job evaluation. Right? Whether this job really is required to be there in the role or not, or there are changes that a job role requires to be done. This is how entire job analysis works for the organization. Largely, each part of HR is linked with job analysis, right? Then second part of this comes in recruitment planning and advertisements. Like, one of you said that whenever you are looking for the people, you then need to look for either sourcing or planning proper advertisings and things where you need to do as per your sourcing channel, that job postings and the advertisements change. You cannot post a similar ad on social media. You can't post a similar ad on LinkedIn. There has to be a difference. So social media would be more towards, it's a call out, shout out for the right candidate, can be a little casual. What goes into LinkedIn should be very, very professional, should sound like a solid company so that, you can get robust platform to attract talent. What is job analysis now? A complete description of that. Any one of you would like to read it through? Please do that. Jyotsna,
Ma'am,
Dipanjana? Yeah. Can you?
yes. Give me a second, please. A job analysis is a thorough and systematic assessment of a position within a company. The three main scenarios which a professional might perform a job analysis include: first, employees assigning their own performance and professional development. Second is managers creating job descriptions or combining positions. And third is human resources professionals recruiting and hiring job candidates. How to conduct a job analysis. First of all, gather the information about the position, then evaluate the importance of each task and competency. Then you research industry standards, then revise job descriptions and standards, and finally use data to make changes.
Yeah. So what do you understand by how do we conduct job analysis?
First of all, employees have to see what they really have in them, like the
Oh, I
skills
lost
they
your
already have.
voice. Can't hear you, Jyotsna. Your
Sorry,
voice
ma'am.
just come
I
through.
think there. I'm sorry, ma'am. I think there are technical.
Hmm. Nibanjana, Anushka, Kavya, any one of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
So, firstly, the necessary thing is to gather information about the position. So, whatever position they're applying for, they need to know, like what it is, what you have to do in that particular job position, and the likes, and then evaluate the importance of each task and competency. Yeah, and then we need to go through what kind of tasks we have to perform once we do get selected in that position, and then evaluate the importance. So, which task is of importance? I think it's pretty much around that. And I'm not sure about research industry standards, what that means.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me take you through these five things, right? How do we conduct job analysis? Have you all understood job analysis, what exactly it is, right? Job analysis is what the job role requires to do for a candidate to do in the organization. It has nothing to do with whether Jyotsna can do, Kavya can do better job, or anyone else can do. It's about the role of the organization that anyone can be hired for. Now, gather information about a position is an HR's job to do. How we do this particular job is basically looking for what kind of things goes into a day-to-day analysis of this particular role. For example, see what kind of task the person has to do in this job. Gather information around it. How we gather information is either writing down, looking at the person doing this particular role in the organization. For example, कोई organization में है आपकी, the person is actually doing a role of an HR. अब अगर आपको एचआर का रोल लिखना है, कैसे लिखेंगे आप उसका जॉब एनालिसिस? You will observe that person who is performing that task. You will see what kind of things they do on a day-to-day basis. Then write it down. Each task and competency means what competencies are required, how the person is talking to people, how the person is behaving, how the person is actually doing day-to-day things, and then you write it down in a proper manner after evaluating it. Then third is research industry standards. Research industry standards mean that what is your competitors are doing in that similar role. So for example, for a similar industry that you are in, you have another competitor that you know of. Their HR is has a degree in psychology also, which is an additional plus. So you will feel that, even in your industry, most of the people have that. So why not hire somebody rather than MBA HR, hire somebody who is MA in psychology or have psychology background to it. Right? So this is how industry standards are being researched for each job role. Also, industry standard says that what is the salary compensation involved in that particular role. Suppose you are thinking of giving to your HR manager 80,000 rupees a month, but market rate says it is at least 97,000 rupees or 1 lakh rupees. So then you also have to upgrade the standards accordingly. Otherwise, you will not have that similar quality or of the candidate, right talent you can hire. So this is research industry standards. देन रिवाइज जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन एंड स्टैंडर्ड, मतलब जो आपके ऑलरेडी लिखे हुए जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शंस को आप उनको इन ऊपर के 3 जो आपने रिसर्च करी है उसके बेसिस पर आप चेंज कर देंगे. Then use data to make changes, that you will have to have the data available with you. How will you have the data with you? The more resumes you will have, the more knowledge you have of the industry, of your competitors, what they are doing, the more you will be able to have the ability to make changes. वो डेटा जनरली हम कैसे एक्वायर करते हैं? वन इज प्राइमरी रिसर्च एंड सेकेंड इज सेकेंडरी रिसर्च. Primary research is when you are getting to know a lot of people, talking to them and finding it out yourself, or you hire an agency to do this job for you. Secondary data is things which are available on internet. There are companies who keep doing this research on a day-to-day manner, month to month or yearly data is available. So you just buy that data out. That is secondary research that you do. So these data are all available everywhere. Now, what information do you need for a job analysis if you have to do it in a primary proper manner? Like I said, we generally do it in two manners. One is primary duties and secondary duties. So you write it down. What are the primary duties for this role in the organization? ये बंदा क्या क्या करने वाला है? क्या क्या इसकी रोज की टास्क होंगे, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज होंगे? Then what are the skills needed for the role? क्या skills चाहिए? Functional skills and non-functional skills both you will write down. Education and experience requirements. कितना education क्या चाहिए? Whether you're looking at graduates with 5 years of experience or postgraduate with 2 years of experience, you need to mention that as well. You need to know about these things. Then work environment is about your organization. How much good is your work environment? You need to write that content out in a manner that looks very attractive to people who are applying for the role. Then the position's relationship to the other positions in the company, matlab hierarchy structure of the organization, and how this position is related to other people in the organization. Suppose आप HR manager हो अगर company के, आपने उनके लिए role लिखना है, so HR manager का और कौन से stakeholders के साथ daily काम रहेगा? So all the department heads, they will be working very closely with, because they are hiring for different departments. Their leadership, which can be the board or the CEOs of the organization, because they'll be talking daily with them. And if the HR manager is not just involved in hiring, but larger aspects, then all other stakeholders, every employee of the company becomes their customer. Right? So work environment, the relationships basically talks about that. Then supervisory requirements, कौन किसको report करेगी position, कौन उनका supervisor होगा, that has to be very clearly defined. And the financial impact is the salary, remuneration, and the benefits that you are giving to the person. Right? So this is how the job analysis is completely written down for any role in the company. So if there are, suppose, 100 people working in the company, job roles 70-75 होंगे. लोग ज्यादा हो सकते हैं क्योंकि एक रोल में और भी लोग हो सकते हैं. तो for imagine 50-60 roles को आपको लिखना है as an HR if you are starting in a company. या रिवाइज करना है अगर पहले से जॉब रोल्स लिखे हुए हैं. So this is the job that goes into HR. Now, what are the methods? If you want to do job analysis, is how you observe people, how you see them, is through these four methods. One is questionnaire. You create a proper structured questionnaire, write questions to know the data about the specific roles that is happening. Right? So, what is the kind of work that you do? How much hours are you spending on this particular job? So, HR अगर मैनेजर की हम बात कर रहे हैं, HR मैनेजर का आप कैसे लिखोगे questionnaires में? That how much time do you spend on sourcing? How much time are you spending on selection and techniques? What kind of tools you are selecting? What is required to be there for writing down that structure? जितना आप questionnaire अच्छा लिखोगे, the more information you will be able to gather for the role that you are designing or writing down. Second is interview. Similar thing है, questionnaire में आपने written down questionnaire दे दिया, interview में आप वही questions पूछ सकते हैं and then you can take a note of it and then create. Third is observation method. Observation में you are just looking at people. You are seeing them doing their work on a day-to-day basis. You are seeing that what kind of things they are doing, what is the kind of work that they are doing on a daily basis. You are making a note of it. हम इसको डायरी मेथड भी कहते हैं. पुरानी बुक्स में आप देखेंगे तो डायरी मेथड लिखा होगा. नए उसमें इनको ऑब्जर्वेशन मेथड कहा जाता है. You will see how they perform their job for a various days and then you write down your components. फिर लास्ट की बात आता है वर्कलॉग. सो आप हर एक का वर्कलॉग चेक कर सकते हैं. यू कैन आस्क देम टू क्रिएट अ टाइम शीट और अ वर्कलॉग ऑफ व्हाट दे डू ऑन अ डे टू डे बेसिस एंड देन यू टेक आउट द इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम दैट पर्टिकुलर. हम जनरली अभी भी करते हैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस पे. वी इधर कॉल इट टाइम शीट, डेटा लॉग, टास्क रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी शीट, एनीथिंग. सो इसमें क्या लिखा जाता है, मॉर्निंग में आप जैसे 10 बजे ऑफिस में आए, शाम को 6 बजे तक आपने क्या क्या टास्क किए, anything that you did in the organization. Over a period of 1 month, we will then study किसने कितना काम किस चीज पे ज्यादा स्पेंड किया है. Then accordingly you can change their job descriptions. क्योंकि कई बार ऐसा होता है बहुत सारी चीजें लिख देते हैं जॉब रोल्स के अंदर, जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन में, whether the person on job is doing it or not. The better thing is to make it so much crisper by this thing so that people are able to concentrate on the primary responsibilities that they have. फिर आता है the importance of, I'm not going into the details of it. I'll send it to you. You guys can read it through. क्यों जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन बनाया जाता है, what is the role of it. Now examples है. I want all of you to please open your cameras. This is an exercise that we are going to do. If you have your copies and notebooks ready, we'll do this exercise in writing down. And once you write it down, just click a picture and send it on WhatsApp group. So this is the exercise we did. Yeah, ready? Dipanjana, Kavya. Alright. So your job title is Sales Representative Central Region. बाहर की कंपनी के बारे में है, किसी कंट्री के बारे में. क्लासिफिकेशन है फुल टाइम जॉब. डिपार्टमेंट है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. लोकेशन है केंटकी, लुइसविल. पे ग्रेड है उनका ये. Right? This is how the sales job analysis is written down. More examples are this. Of this same job posting. क्या क्या job duties रहेंगी? What are the complete role that the person have to play? New customers located in the region, client list बनानी है, potential customers के पास जाना है, sales representations करने हैं, make sales करनी है, records of sales reports रखना है. Skills क्या चाहिए? Proficient in desk or office programs, proficiency in customer relationship management software, customer service अच्छा होना चाहिए, interpersonal skills, written and verbal communication. Reporting structure क्या है? Reporting directly to this person. No one reports to this position, मतलब it's an individual role. इनके नीचे कोई नहीं है. It's not a team lead role. And the person must attend yearly sales meeting. That's the reporting structure that is there. This is how a complete job analysis is being written down. Another example is yeah sorry इसी का ही continuation है उनका employee requirement मतलब उनका job specification, what degree, what skills, what kind of environment, and certification and license is required from the person. This is their KPIs, what the person should bring into the organization. Sales increase करेंगे तो इतना percent increase करना है, उनका target है ये, और sales department को increase करना है तो ये सब चीजें करना होगा. Right? That's a measurement metrics for each role. Another role example is this. This is assistant editor for a company. Full time employee है, book production में काम करता है, North Carolina में है. Job requirements है, this is communication with writers, graphic designers, and editor-in-chief and all that. Day-to-day job responsibilities are written in job duties. Then their title, skills, education, qualification, environment, and certification required to do this job, and what kind of KPIs the person will have to do as an editor. Yeah. So now I want you to write a similar kind of job analysis for a role, any role that you can think of. In a similar fashion. You pick up the role, you pick up the industry, you pick up the location. Without looking into the Google. Just try and write it down. It's okay. If you make mistakes, that's fine. It's the very first time. पहली बारी में हम लोगों ने भी बहुत mistakes किए थे. But this is how you will learn.
So these examples.
Sorry?
The format. We're gonna it's perfect.
Yeah, this is the format. So once you have written down this much, I will move these slides so that you can see the next part of it. Right? So let's start with this. So whatever role you are thinking, think about it, whether it's an entry-level job or it's a mid-level job or it's a senior leadership kind. Wherever you feel stuck, let me know.
Ma'am, if I were to make a job description for a teacher's position, what would be the department that I have to mention?
Also, generally, there are teaching or non-teaching departments, so you can write teaching.
Thank you.
Pay grade, if you're talking of this level one, level two, how
Leave that. It depends upon the position that people are in. So generally, pay grades are given as per the entry level है, mid level है, senior level है. So every organization has different levels. So leave that. That's okay.
matters.
Shall I move the slides?
The job, so we just have to write the summary of the position and nothing like education.
No, you can write anything that you want. Job requirement is a summary of the entire position in brief, 2, 3 lines largely. Done? Shall I move the slide so that you can write the other part? Job title is repeat. Delete that. The right skills and reporting structure. And then education.
Ma'am, we have to take a picture and send it on WhatsApp, that's right?
Yes. Yes, please. You've written this thing, education, skills, environment, and
Yes.
certifications required.
Education, I have not. Oh,
Yeah.
Go back to the previous slide. In reporting structure,
One is who this person reports to, this position reports to, and the second part is how many people reports to this position.
sure of that one.
Which position is it? Tell me, I'll tell you.
Marketing manager.
So marketing manager would be reporting to either the sales and marketing head,
I'm sorry,
sales and marketing head,
sales and marketing head. Okay.
or I'm pretty sure marketing manager cannot be individual position, so at least one or two people would be reporting to this.
So quite right.
So two people reporting to this position,
Uh,
minimum. There can be more depending upon how large the organization is. Then you have this education, skills, and environment. Sorry. Can't hear you, Devanjana. If you're talking to me, yes.
the skills part,
Hmm.
you already had that segment.
Sorry.
You already had the skills part before.
The skill is from the perspective of the organization that we are looking at, right? These skills are basically what the person should have for the role. So, for example, the companies cannot describe what we write in our resumes. What is your ability to do? What are the skills that you have? Then how proficient you are in. Suppose you are writing from my marketing manager. So, how a marketing manager is proficient in, say, social media? So the skill from the organization point of view is that the person should know social media, but how much they should know of social media would come here in their education. क्या किया होगा उन्होंने, so that you can find out.
Can we skip the certification licenses?
Sorry, can't hear
Can we
you.
skip the certification and licenses part?
Certification licenses, see whether it's required for your role that you're writing, like you're writing for teacher, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So for a teacher, good certification would be an added advantage. Maybe certification in storytelling, or they have cleared some examination that is required for being a teacher. Because now the schools have become much stricter that they need to hire specific qualification people for teachers only. So if you're hiring for colleges, then PhD would be must, or UGC net would be must. If you are writing for school teachers, then again their qualification certifications are must. So licenses तो इंडिया में जरूरत नहीं होती है. So yeah, I mean driving license has nothing to do with the job.
Just certifications, क्या कहना है?
For marketing manager, an extra certification in storytelling or extra certification in social media management, performance marketing, metrics. Because every day so many things are new coming in. So, but certification course helps you just stay upgraded on the job. चलिए. So देखा, one role takes so much of time. Imagine you have to write 20 roles as an HR manager. What will you do? And people say HR do not have work. And this too when you do not have much information. Imagine you have information about the entire organization, the structure of different departments. It gets even more difficult to write this. Simpler also and difficult also. Then there are KPIs also, which is success factors. That's the last portion of it. What exactly you want this person to achieve in the job role in terms of the numbers. So for teachers, how will they improve efficiency? By improving their entire year result by say 5%, 10%. Marketing manager, how will you improve? So lead generation improvement by say 15% than the previous years.
Sorry.
Success factors, improve efficiency. I'm talking about what are the KPIs that can be there. How will you measure marketing managers or a teacher's job? कैसे कहोगे कि marketing manager has done a great job for the year? What would be the calculation points, measuring points? जो आपके उनके जॉब रोल में लिख रहे हो उसमें से देखो what can be put into numbers. Numbers means how many social media posts are doing in a month. What is the lead generation happening for marketing manager? Lead generation matlab if you are posting something on social media or various platforms, कितने नए leads improve हो रहे हैं हमारे, कितने नए sales leads आ रहे हैं वहां से. So that is lead generation. How much will you improve? 10%, 15%, whatever you can write from the previous years. So the idea is to be better from the last years. Similarly, improving visibility of the organization or the brand by 10%. और टीचर का कैसे लिखोगे? What should a teacher should be doing? How will you say that the teacher has performed really well in a school, college?
Ma'am, even the performance of the students have been improved from the last
Correct.
year.
Yeah. So how many people have successfully passed? Pupils have been, not people, pupils have been have passed successfully. Then attendance records of the teachers for themselves, how much, which how many times they have been there. Done?
Ma'am, if improved attendance rate also comes in real success to like the teachers, because of the teachers, the students have attended
I
more
can't hear
classes.
you, Jyotsna. Your voice is very weak.
Hello, am I audible now, ma'am?
You're audible, but there is a lot of disturbance while you're
Yes.
speaking.
Oh, I'm sorry for that.
You can type it in the chat. Yeah, can be. Why not? If the students are more regular in the school, then it's obviously the teachers are doing really good job of teaching.
Should we take a picture and send it in the group?
Yes, please send it in the group. I'll make the corrections. I'll send it to you personally. And then on the basis of the corrections, uh, do rewrite another job position. So should we cover all the rest slides, three, or you want to do it tomorrow? Done? Should we go ahead?
Yes.
Jyotsna? Done? All right. So let's talk about, once we have spoken about the entire procedure and everything, now what are the challenges that comes in for hiring or sourcing the right kind of candidates? These are major four challenges that comes in. High competition. Generally, people are not willing to come to your organization because there is a lot of industries, a lot of good companies out there. So it becomes very competitive market. So what can be done? For that, the solution is the better the employer branding, the more companies values and things that you are able to showcase to the employees, the prospective employees, the more the competition would be lesser for the people to join the organization. Then over reliance on technology, a lot of people rely too much on technology rather than on human interaction. So rather than putting everything onto the softwares in terms of when we are getting the resumes and sending it out directly to the tracking systems, it's better to have some human interactions with people to understand their roles and responsibilities better, because sometimes a lot of things get missed because machine is machine, obviously software is a software. It doesn't really gives 100% accuracy. Then employee turnover, yes, a lot of time organizations may employee turnover is a major problem. Attrition rates are very high. Employees keep shifting for even lesser amount of money. So the idea is to create a practice of hiring people which can be tailor-made depending upon the position. Because the more tailor-made it would be for position to position basis, there are chances that the kind of recruitments you are doing for the organization would be much more successful. Right? It will have a better success ratio. Lack of diversity, again, we had spoken about it very briefly last week also. Diversity has become a major factor why we are not getting the right qualifications, right talent for the organization, is because we are not looking beyond the man who are available for the job. Even the women are not being hired in the larger positions purely because जब से maternity के rule change हुए हैं from 3 months to 6 months, leave has to be given by the organization. Uh, Organizations have gone into a phase where not even hiring married women too much. So, that diverse pool of applicants should be prepared in a manner that you are bringing more diversity into the company for better people to be hired for the greater talent pool. Then, how is the future outlook for sourcing is? Automated recruitments are happening. There are organizations in the West, in outside India, countries, where the regular job of calling people and getting to know a little bit about them is 100% done by the bots or AI or machines. So imagine when you do not even require a person to do automated recruitment, how it will help the problem, how it will help solve the problem is it will try and cut down the process time that generally takes into sourcing. of right candidate. It will help out in that. Then virtual reality recruitment. A lot of people are started using virtual reality as a part of the company. They start giving complete environment look of the organization through virtual reality to the people. A lot of videos, even in India, you will see a lot of people, organizations have started creating videos where you are sitting at your home, you can just take a look at the entire organization at one go. So you, whether you're a remote worker or working full time in the organization, is equally thing. So people can take better hiring decisions when they look at the overall organization. कैसे cubicles है, कैसा environment है, किस तरीके के ventilation है, किस तरीके की space है. All these things makes a major decision for some people. So virtual reality recruitment helps into that. Then digital employer branding, like you're writing about marketing managers position, so you would know it's very important that right now the company's presence needs to be felt everywhere for the candidates to see and know about the company more. The more positive reviews you will have for the organization and genuine ones, it's not just that you have written down the reviews for your own organization. The more you make your own people who are working with you happier, the more your digital outside presence would be. And the higher you are doing better benefits for the organization, for the people, there are chances that people would have better employer branding also. Now, the conclusion says that recruitment is very crucial. It's very important to have highly engaged and effective people for the organization. For great potential of the organization to be improved, the people should have possibility of hiring people who can bring in that proficiency or uh, better qualifications and merit. Then strategize, practice, or to optimize. Very important for recruitment is a lot of times we make wrong decisions, wrong hires are being happened, even by senior people also. Sometimes you go by your gut feeling, you don't really get to know about the people really genuinely. So try and practice it as much as you practice. This is a kind of a job where you are meeting people, getting to know them, and then it gets improving or automatically. Similar to very similar to how the sales job happens. You basically go to make 10 cold calls, and then out of 10, only two people open the door and talk to you, or takes your product. Similar thing happens in recruitment as well. So the more you practice, the better you get into this. Third is improve recruitment practices equal to better business results. जितना अच्छा आप candidate लेकर आएंगे organization के लिए, the organizations are going to perform much better through that. The success ratio and the more profitability ratio of the organization very much depends upon the right kind of sourcing and recruitment that has happened. And that is why gradually over last 10-15 years, HR's role have improved so much into the organization in understanding the business, in getting to know the organizations really well, and then hiring the people from the world outside. Right? So this is the conclusion. We will take on the next portion of recruitment and sourcing tomorrow, and we will conclude this chapter tomorrow, yeah, with some more exercises. All right. Thank you so much, Dimanjana, and see you. Good night. See you tomorrow.